This is another video in our mini poem series. This video is more about sculpting, and it's about I don't know if it's my most unfavorite subject or my passion, and that's about a circular reference. Ah! I should sound a little more enthusiastic. Now, let me just explain this circular reference. Okay, I did a whole lot of sculpting videos in our sculpting course. But one of the things I didn't do was put a construction period in. Now, the way this kind of works is if you put too much debt here, let's, I think, move it up to the base case. Right now, we have 97% debt. They're not going to allow that. And somewhere, I hope, we put a maximum debt constraint. Now, if you have a maximum debt constraint, go to the sources and uses statement. In the initial videos, if you didn't see this, I didn't have any interest during construction, but the interest during construction affects the project cost. The project cost affects the 77% debt here times the project cost. Now, the way I've been doing this, I don't know how much to kind of review this. I think it's worth reviewing because it's really tricky to do. I said, okay, here's our debt to capital, here's our project cost, and up in line 64, here's where I'm going to get the total debt to capital from my project cost. Somewhere I put that now, see, that's blank. That's blank right now. And so then I can get my debt from the sculpting. I don't know if you really need this one. Okay, but you can then take the CFADS divided by the debt from the maximum debt to capital constraint. That's the big trick. And get the kind of answer. Now, here's what happens. Okay, if we put this in, we get a dreaded blue line, this April Fool's Day joke from last year, which was so good. And I take my 77% and say, times the total project cost, and then I get the dreaded blue line. Now that comes because of this. Okay, I'm going to put it back. Now let's, for just a moment, let's, I'm going to save this file because I'm going to show you how to do something and I might get very frustrated. If you go to the options and you go to the formulas and you click on the enable iterative calculations, we know the goal seek doesn't work and we know you can get some errors, but let me illustrate. Oh, this seems to all fix it. Good. Let's just say accidentally I deleted this line, okay? And then I get some references down here. Okay, there aren't that many. Well, there are a lot of references then. A whole lot of references. Okay, and then I Control Z, I undelete the line. Oh no. That didn't affect it. Just a minute. Shoot. Okay, I'll have to find some line that is really affected by this. Perhaps it's, maybe it's not going to be affected. Let's delete that one. And we get some references. And let's put Control Z. And then we still get the references. And that's one of the worst things. Now, I think, just to let you know, it's not, you can say it's not that impossible, because what you can do is you can delete this line and then redo that line. So it's not completely impossible, but you had better know. And then, can I undo this? Can I undo that and put it back? I guess that did work. So it's not the worst thing in the whole world. Maybe I'm too negative sometimes about this iteration, but I think it's really pretty bad. I really do. Of course, if you type an A, you can't undo it either, and you have to go back and do these things, and the goal seek doesn't work, and it really slows down Excel. Now, the copy and paste method is arguably worse. It's arguably a lot worse because then you basically just messes up everything. So we're going to do this. I'm going to take this away, and I'm going to show you the function, and I'm going to try to show you how to make it not quite as painful. It is painful the way I do it. I'm really sorry. I'm not claiming it's not. Okay? And instead of that, we put debt DC. I put debt to capital, and I press Control F3. And then here's what I do. I click on an entire line. If you're going to have a whole bunch of arguments in a function, the last thing you want is to have to start putting all these F4s in and all of that. Okay. And I'm going to put in total construction. And actually, even though I put that works, even though I had something in there. If you notice, I had something in there, and then we'll put the periodic interest rate in, and then we'll put the maximum debt to capital in. Those are all the arguments we need for the function to work. And then finally, we'll put how much debt comes out if you just do the structuring, if you don't have a constraint. In fact, I should name that better. Structured debt, no debt to cap. Okay, now maybe this is bad. Maybe it doesn't work. Let's do the same thing. I'm going to try to find that line. I think the scheduled debt repayment. I press a minus. I get a lot of references, and then press Control Z, and it's all back. It doesn't. Your model still has its full integrity. I don't know, you can say, oh, you're making a mountain out of a whole molehill or something like that, and you may be right. Okay, and then, so that's our thing. And now if we go back to our summary sheet, now we've constrained the debt. So if we start putting the debt to capital structure up, eventually we're hitting the DSCR constraint instead of the debt to capital constraint. Okay, I've done so many videos on that, I'm not going to mention that again. Now here's what I tried to do. If you go to chapter 1, I don't know if I put this on the disk even, well, I will. I'll put this on the website. I can't do it right now because I'm not online. And there's a function named readArray. And that function allows you to read those total arrays. And I think that's an important thing to get these functions started. It made it look kind of not so bad when we just made our function. It was a little more painful to make, of course. Now when you do that, oops, I'm going to go find my sheet. Can I find it? Ah, shoot. It's not, is it not open? Oh, it must be not open. Okay, I have trouble opening files in Excel 2016. I don't know why. Maybe it's me. I must be an idiot. Yeah, it goes down like this. Why in the heck does it do that, you stupid... Ugh. Okay. Ah, come on! I'm not swearing, but I'm allowed to... What? Am I supposed to click on that thing over there or something? Here it says, don't forget to use the options. And so what you do is you can go to the developer here. In fact, maybe I should say here, just So here's the step one. Of course, save this step. Alt and F8 to copy the, what do I say, the entire function page. Is that okay? And 3, put it in your file. And then 4, change some of the names around of variables. Now, what I did here, and it's a good practice. I think you should kind of do, you don't, I don't know, that's a ridiculous thing to say. I have something called read array. This is a read array function. Okay, and the way this function works is you put an equal sign and then you press Shift F3. No, why didn't that work? Let's try it again. Shift F3. And it says, first put the entire time switch of the whole thing in here, and then put the entire EBITDA in. And then if you want to put an optional variable, you can. And so I just put that in here, and you press OK. And of course, I screwed up, okay, because I should have called this time switch. That's good. I screwed up again. Every time I do this, I embarrass myself, but whatever. I assume nobody's paying for this. And I wish I could get €1 for this whole stuff. And then what it does is this just gives us a sum of the whole thing, okay? Not very exciting. Okay, and I put 80 as a switch. I should have put it like this. So let's make this less than or equal to this one. Press F4, Shift Control R, and let's make it 20. And then I don't know what's the first one. The first one's giving us the total numbers. There's like a total number that you could read, a maximum number. This is like the maximum number. And then this is when we start, the start column. And this is the end column. And this is the sum of the EBITDA. And let's just say we make 3 columns. Okay, then we just go from 3 to 5 and we get a sum. All right, now here's what you do. So let's try this. Alternate F8. Ah, and then copy entire read array page. How's that? Okay, so Shift F8. You can see I really haven't geared this for. I meant Alt F8. And then you press Edit. And then you Control A. Now it also says, and then you copy this into your function, and that allows you to have an enormous head start. It really does, because this whole business of looping around and finding the true false, and then when you have a loop, it makes things so much more difficult. So that's what I did, and then you can, now I'm going to go back, I'm going to save this file since I changed a few things, I even closed it, Okay, and now let's go to the assumptions, the financial model page, and now I have this debt function. Okay, now what I did is I made a button around there that just takes us right to it. So this is all of this stuff first. The first thing you do is just read in all the variables. Now I made it so we can output 4 variables. So this is as a array variable. The newest one has a little comment, and then we put our start column and our end column. That's what is all given in the read array. That's all done for you. Now, what you have to do here is make a little loop. In the loop, what you want to do is you have to do this whole thing. Let's start at the end, as we always do. The total debt is the minimum of the debt that's just driven by structuring, purely structuring, without any constraint, or the maximum debt to capital constraint. Then you go backwards. The maximum debt to capital constraint is the project cost times the maximum debt to capital. And that means we have to go up and we have to read in the capex to get our project cost, and we have to read in the maximum debt to capital. And up here I computed the total construction expenditures. And our total project cost is the total construction expenditures plus the total IDC. And then you keep going backwards. And it looks easy, and it should be easy. Maybe for most people it's easy. Unfortunately, I seem to be kind of an idiot about this stuff sometimes. And then we need to go around this column. Now, I'm going to open that file I just showed you, because I made it a little better. Oh, God, I'm going to have this problem again. Oh, did I open the right one, please? Ah, yes. Here, on this one, what I did this time is, again, if you press alternate F8 and press edit, why don't can I get this whole thing on a kind of sheet? Yeah, I can get the whole thing, so I'm gonna just clip this. Oh, there's my horrible testimony I was working on. God, I sometimes hate that you don't care. And then we put this, where's this? You'll make this, okay, you make a little function. All right, is that, come on, okay. And then I used a begin column and an end column instead of begin construction and end. So I just improved this a little compared to this one. Okay, so we go back. So here's our, oops, let's go to the one we were working on. All right, and then here's the hard part. You have to go through what caused the circular reference. The circular reference was caused by the IDC. And if we're going to go through the IDC, we have to kind of recompute the whole thing. And to recompute the whole thing, we have to start with the IDC you get in every period, which is the debt balance. Now you start with a zero debt balance. Oops. And then you accumulate all the IDC. So you take the debt balance times the interest rate. Now that means the last thing we had to read over here was the interest rate. Okay? And then you go through the total debt funding, and that's the capex plus the IDC is the total funding needs, and then we're going to just use simple pro rata. That's a little bit more complicated if it's not pro rata. I've shown you that on other sheets. And then we go through the debt funding, and then we increase our debt balance. So our debt balance is a debt balance plus the funding. Okay, that's what we do. And then all that does, that whole thing gives us the IDC. Now, the key thing here is this thing for the total debt. That's the real key. Okay, this total debt, that's the key, because that's computed as the minimum rather, of the amount of debt that's structured, or the total debt of the maximum. Yes, enough. Okay, and that's finished. And I don't know, you can say, was that really worth it? Would it better have been to click on that iteration button? I should keep more of an open mind about that iteration button, but I really have things against it. I really think. I just remembered one time when it screwed me up so badly, I went almost completely crazy. Okay, and so I'm going to stop this video right now.